So plastic flowers. I just thought I'd say hi and sorry. I don't know. I think you and your mom, me and your mom, are pissed with you for. No, we're very fond of you, of course. But I think we'd like you to brighten up a little bit from time to time. But there's nothing you can do about that. We'll just have to remain a bit perturbed. You know, if I was to say why trouble is trouble for you, like you got a lot of, you know, positive things going on. You're kind of the Midwestern perfect accent. You've got kind of accepting politics, and it's easy for you to be careful. I mean, not you know, whatever, all those things people hate about comment about the, you know, like you aren't racist or anti whatever or anti patriarchy or anti conservative or, you know, too liberal or too the other way. I mean, you're just a bit, I mean, I don't know what you might hold in your soul too much, but you don't feel the need to be as irritating as fuck. Oh, that's a little creek there. It goes in the side of the swamp. It's a nice place to paddle. I guess, from the outside, it's hard for us to see why things are so challenged for you. But I think where you are, maybe there's not as much of appreciation of, you know, how wonderful what you are. I mean, how unique it is in the world, and how kind of, because it's probably not that unique in Wisconsin. And you're getting a bit of hassle from people who are more or less incels, and they're insulting you, and you know, abusive. And I mean, I can't really say much against them because I'm abusive too, and more so now that you're working, and I feel less awkward about doing that. But we do want you well. I mean, in all ways. I mean, I hope you do all the little things, like, you know, go to the dentist regularly, and I don't know, get counseling for things when they bother you. Talk to people who care, or who don't, but will listen well. So I guess that's important as well. Anyway, I'm fond of you. So up there is a great blue heron, or gray heron, or whatever. I'm trying not to get close because he flies off all the time. And he's been around here a lot. I've seen him for years. I'm pretty sure, well, he probably doesn't recognize me with the new kayak. The fancy new kayak. It's green. But if it was yellow, he'd know. And there he is right in the middle there. And I'm pretty sure, well, I would guess it's the same one that's been here for years. Because after all, why not? And I bet he eats fish. Sorry, I mentioned that because the Panth has 3 fish. A moonfish, which is kind of like round, and 2 other fish, which are supposedly my fish, which are far away. And I'm not even sure what state or wherever they are. I don't know if I'll ever see my fish. There he goes. Great blue heron again. I thought it was something else, but he just flew a couple of feet. I don't know why like normally he'd fly further, but he just flew like about 150 feet ahead, maybe less, and just, you know, rested a tree. And now he's kind of hanging out on the far side of the entrance to the bad swamp. This is where, right over there, I found the lonely goose, Canada goose, right beside his betrothed, who had been shot and left to float downstream. You know, I don't know, that part of hunting is just, I'd like to say offensive, but I mean, they were kind of threatening me, which, especially in the dark, near water, I mean, they had guns, but I don't know if I should elaborate. Not everybody needs to know. There she goes, or he goes. He's getting older. I mean, look, he's just gone like 100, like 40 feet. I'm sorry for him. You know, we all get older. But just drifted back into some junk. So more, there she goes. Or I like to think of she because she's kind of like Lona. And I don't think she's scared of me. She just likes to lead. You know? So that's a beaver. You can't really tell. Well, I can't tell easily from this far, but I have got close to them before. And found out those little things that are dragging across the water where they're dragging branches, those are beavers. Or, you know, aquatic animals, mammals. Sorry, I was going to talk about Aseps here. It's a wonderful thing, though. It's, you know, how do I put it? It's air traffic control in the future, and in a lot of places present. But it's not the present in domestic airspace or en route airspace. It's the present in the oceans a bit. Aseps is performance-based navigation, which is very, it's related to that Swiss cheese model where, you know, you got lots of things you're doing and you got a whole bunch of checks, and, you know, if all the checks work out, then that's good. And if they don't, then you don't get to qualify and you don't get to play in the game. So Aseps allows, sorry, I started to drift through some scum here. Mentally and physically, and also with the kayak. This is a little bridge here that was around, you know, somebody, I don't know if I put this online, somebody's going to probably notice this. Aseps. Aseps requires you to be RNP 10 or RNP 4, which are airspace qualifications. Mostly, one of them is near Reykjavik, Iceland, and the other, I think, is mostly over the ocean. RNP4, I think, is over the ocean. I think, anyway, they are defined by, you know, if your flight plan says so, you know, and it's if you say RNAV, anyway, let's just assume there's a whole bunch of stuff you can put in your flight plan, and then it also matters if you have, you know, define how you talk to controller pilot data link, how the data link knows where you are, and then it monitors that too. So let's say you're in contact with the data link, like, you know, let's say me, you know, people wondering where the hell I am. If I don't get back to them after 25 minutes or half an hour or an hour, they might come check for me. By the way, they won't. They really won't. But they could. You could also imagine that happened. It wouldn't, though. They wouldn't know where I was. There's a whole bunch of other stuff like, what else is there? You know, what kind of equipment you have to talk to things. I mean, but that's kind of my role to me. You know, everybody can talk to VHF and things like that. What else is there? You should be radar controlled, or expected to be radar controlled, in the place you're going to be where Aseps is applied. It should be under copper airspace, like conflict prediction airspace. I think we've got it where you should be in, you have to be in MTCD airspace as well. I'm not really sure about that one. I have to look back at it. MTCD is medium-term conflict detection, and it's what it does is it takes the route of the flight and present position symbol, the present position that we have on the flight, and it uses that to look about 10 to 20 minutes downstream to find out if, you know, it's going to conflict with other aircraft. I should look back on that because it's while it's related to Aseps, it's not something I've played with a lot, studied a lot, or looked at. A lot of the other parts are more my gamble. I don't want to say gamble. That's kind of a bad. We don't gamble. You know, we do a lot of work on this. By the way, that's the entrance to the good swamp. And I'm thinking of not going in there, although I have coffee and a little stove, and there is a beaver right there. And he's swimming right across the middle of that little thing with something in his jaws. They hate me too. I don't know. Probably for good reasons. So what was I saying? Sorry. He stopped. I sat a couple times at that particular junction. The Good Swamp is a great place. You know? There used to be a canoe up there. And I'm almost thinking about abandoning a couple there just for fun. Buy some really cheap canoes and just leave them there until people start showing up looking for the canoes. Well, they're going with Aseps. It's part of the reason we're involved with it is it's related to this space-based ADSB. Now, space-based means it's from the satellites for us, and ADSB means it's automated text, whatever it is. It's the planes actually, they report their position to whatever's listening, and we can talk to them as well, but the listening to them is ADSB, the talking to them is CPDLC, and there's also ADSC, where we get position reports from them, and a couple other kinds of messages. So there's three types: ADSB, ADSC, and data link. Which, well, data link is basically the whole thing. And CPDLC is control reply, the data link communication. So that's basically text messages. Well, it is. It's not basically. It is completely text messages. By the way, those are turtles who are pissed with me. Might have a tiny bit of something to. That was a bit of a beer in a thermos, because after a while, I'm trying to do it one-handed and keep control of my paddle, which is a great paddle, beautiful carbon paddle that Owen gave me, along with this kayak which he gave me. Pretty impressed with Owen lately. He's being a piece of shit in a while. Owen's been fine. Kids are fine. Where was I? So I mean, this is a Swiss cheese model where you can't easily, where your surveillance is, like, if you look at the original, how people originally had problems in air traffic, it was, they'd fly towards the mountains, and then they'd both, two planes would take the same route through the mountains, and then they'd have difficulties. They weren't communicating, people weren't surveilling what's going on, and, there was a lot of smart things done. It's just not the entire business. And now, we've got this business where we think it's we have profiles, and, but I think it's worthwhile thinking, hey, this isn't really about all the technology. It's about, because these kind of things could be done just with people. It would take about 10 times as much time, but somebody could get a report, say, hey, this guy isn't on radio. This guy hasn't reported back. I mean, we don't know when he departed. She's, laterally off course 15 miles. All these kinds of things, would be assembled and made into meaningful messages back in 1941, when basically a whole bunch of 16-year-old girls were hanging around and moving cardboard and wooden boats around on situation maps in somewhere in England, I guess. Probably England. Anyhow, I don't know if it was England or Wales or Scotland. Anyway, somewhere they were monitoring the Battle of Britain. But it's really not about the technology. It's about what you choose to add to the gambit. And I think even then they would realize that, hey, you know, if I haven't heard back from these guys, that's an issue. If I haven't, and you know, that's basically what we're doing now. We're automating that kind of thing. But there's 40 different parts to it, and so you got to qualify in all these different little pieces, which isn't, to my mind, it's not more advanced than those parts. It's just, it's automated electronically, because they knew it then. I mean, they did that kind of thing then. Anyway, possibly that's bullshit for me for an afternoon here. We'll try and zoom in on these guys. One of them just jumped off, but there's one that's bold. See, that guy did it last time too. He refused to get off the log while the other jumped. There's a bird up there, and I can't get why. You know, it's a predator, and you know, why is it up so high? Sorry, I'm not sure I'm getting it. It's quite a way. It's like 800, 1,200 feet high, and you know, you wonder what they can see from there. I think it's being assholes and like trying to spook people, spook the animals, or just maybe enjoying the updraft. I don't know if there's updraft. It's late afternoon. Sorry, enough of the bird. Sorry. What the hell? So, this isn't the best part of the swamp. Lana likes jumping on that little ridge there. She'll like run along. Well, she's getting older, so I have to bring her out here and see if she still does it. What the hell? Guess there's no real message at this point. So I was just told if I show up at home, I'm on my own. There's a beaver just going into the weeds there. It's kind of thick with beavers here, which might suggest there's a bunch of beavers here. Anyway, I don't know. They're not my favorite. I kind of want to get a good camera to just sit on the edge, kind of like this, and just paddle by shit and see what's going on. Like right here, that's the entrance to the bad swamp. The bad swamp. The evil swamp. The swamp of darkness and false hopes. But partly it's because it's completely man-made and it's obvious on both sides, and it's regular, and I don't know, man. It's like paddling into a dirty bathtub. That doesn't stop me though. Two trees kind of joined together by a stringer. Well, they almost, I thought they were. But I think it's kind of cool. Little bridges. Thicket there behind the tree. That tree. That, to me, seems like a perfect place to build a hovel. And mainly because it's not attractive. But if you built it right there and, you know, faced your exit, your entrance, whatever, away from the water, had this side just be, you know, covered with moss or whatever, no one would want to walk there. Even if they walked right by there, like on that little shoreline, you know, why would they look at it? And if they walked on the far side, it would be hidden by a little bit of brush there. You probably want to, you know, not make the entrance on the far side that colorful, because people probably growing, you know, corn on that far side. But, you know, this is, what, like 300 yards from the road? Maybe 200? The road's just over there. It'd be noisy. And it's not an attractive spot. There's no amenities. There's nothing, you know, nothing to make you want to put it there. And that's partly it. Once you put it there, you'd still have a little place to hang out. There's near a road, and you know, you could probably drive a motorcycle here pretty easily. It's a nutty idea. I mean, that right there behind the tree, like that 9 feet there, you can that distance. That could be a helpful. Again, one of those Nubari things, which I guess means fat tree in Japanese. There's another one. And well, I guess I've mentioned it before. It's kind of cool. I'm not sure if I've posted it before. But, you know, when they can't go into the water, they spread out just above the water and do that thing. I'm in the swamp, of course, and well, I guess that's obvious. Meant to take the day off, but I kind of did. I watched Princess Mononoke, you know, watching a whole bunch of those Studio Ghibli things, which are, they're not distasteful, I guess. Got one at home I think I'll watch. Maybe watch them all. I want to do some drawing too and sell. Well, yeah, everybody wants to sell things, clean up. I have this fear, which is a reasonable fear, I think, that there's going to be so much junk that I won't be able to negotiate around the house, and I'll get to be one of those old crabby people with a ton of junk. And so maybe now is the time to get rid of things that I might not be using this year. Because after all, if I really, really need it, I could go to the dollar store and get another one. Or, you know, buy it with some of this money I got from selling this stupid shit. I got a lot of junk, like old stoves and stuff. Maybe I'll shoot a video of the junk that should be selling. But not, well, this camera is good here, but in the home it's not so good because it's scratched up the lens. So I guess the automatic f-stop makes things look a little bit fuzzier. It's an upsetting time in ways. I'm not getting along with some people. Mainly with Plastic Flowers, who frankly I don't care about. She sent a note saying he was really depressed and sort of didn't want to be around anymore. And everybody I know is online is kind of suicidal. And I said, well, you know, she said, well, people don't like me. And I mentioned, well, yeah, I know. People don't like you because I met her from a crowd of people who didn't like her. Except Sherlock, who's dead. But, you know, they're kind of self-centered bastards, and they were just mean to her. And that's part of the reason I know her, because I was sick of people being mean to her. But she hasn't been talking to me lately. I guess she was like, well, you don't like me either, because you know people who don't like me. Which is okay. She graduated. Graduated from the wyvern group. Sorry. This is probably stupid shit. Well, it is. Obviously. Okay, well, I'm going to paddle now because I've drifted into the sun. Put the camera into the bag. Close the back off. And we'll see if we can paddle with the camera in the bag. I have to hold it up against my knees. So that's okay. And this kayak requires steering. I mean, you can steer with the paddles. It's got a rudder, which Owen might listen, but I'm not really fond of the rudder. Although it tracks too true to not use the rudder. So, because it's got a keel, it's a little harder to... You'd think it would be easier to steer with a rudder, but it's not. It's just kind of like the Flintstones, you know. They're used to driving the cars. You know, you have to use your feet to turn. And I'm a bit of that kind of primitive. It's just not a bad outing. hard to get it like high enough so it sees things. It's still, you know, in my knees, so I don't lose it. I guess there's a thing called counting moves. How? In the dollar store. It's not as easy. I can do two things like this. But I suppose not so hard either. Perkins in Wild America. No, wait, Wild Kingdom? Yeah. It's really hurt. You know, more than, you know, you kind of think was going to die, because he was old. But Bill died. And Bill used to do the coolest things. They're sending Bill in. He's got a net. He's going to put it over the tree where the monkeys have been scared. Now Bill will try to catch 400 monkeys. And then Bill would go in with, like, mittens and, like, be wrestling with monkeys. For no good reason, either. It was supposed to be some kind of scientific experiment of some form. Usually, I think in the later seasons, they tried to make it out to be something kind of meaningful. But mostly it was just craziness with Bill. Got his job because he could handle a snake or something like that. He's passed on. He was our, well, I don't know if he was our hero. We certainly had to have respect for him. Because he could angle. And he'd go on Johnny Carson with some kind of animal. I didn't watch Johnny Carson as a kid, because it was on very late. And I was a swimmer, so I went to bed early. I didn't even know he existed until late teens. Yeah, kids did not stay up late. Well, we swam early. So I was really diligent about going to bed early to think, you know. It's so different from my own kids. They, no. Well, you know, we didn't fight that battle. We let them do it. And of course, you know, they don't have morning practice either. Duncan has morning work now, but he sleeps in the afternoon, which is a good habit, I think. Stream Rock Garden. And I don't normally come here because there's people. There are people. And there's ducks too. You can take a canoe or kayak down. Well, I haven't taken a kayak. Well, have I? Yeah, I've driven a canoe down through there. It's, you know, it's not bad. It only goes on for just past that corner over there. And then it's a little bit of a slough, another, you know, little kind of lake thing, I guess, or a wide part of the river for about a quarter of a mile. And then there's another bit of a rock garden. This kind of does that a lot. It kind of goes all the way through here, because there's like several benches of this sort of geology, I guess you call it. And the river's cut across it. This is the kind of thing that makes the Rideau Falls. The little break we're hitting here. What are they called? The Rainbow Falls? Whatever, anyway. And also the Hogsback Falls. Anyway, I'm going to try and go through the back entrance. Go through the back entrance to the swamp. I tried this to start filming it before, and it cut off. I think I can do a bit more careful. Okay, here we go. Back up a little bit. I got hung up and knocked the camera over. Let's give it another try. So this is not working too well because the camera keeps getting knocked over. But wow, kitty in here.